By taking a look at the 14 teams that made the playoffs and how they performed against teams with a winning record during the regular season, combined with how good each team's starting quarterback is, I can definitively say who is going to be playing in February. I've split these 14 teams up into 5 tiers based on each team's playoff ceiling. Just remember, I am an expert. At the bottom of D tier, the Houston Texans. This team is 1-5 against teams with a winning record. I will refer to as good teams. In those 6 games, they have a negative 66 point differential, and their quarterback, CJ Stroud, has regressed this season compared to his rookie season last year. Ever since that Lil Bro moment with Caleb, this team has not looked great. They are riddled with injuries. CJ Stroud ranks dead last in quarterback rankings for the playoff teams. Right ahead of them, still in the D tier, is the Denver Broncos. This is the first time the Broncos have been in the playoffs since they won the Super Bowl back in 2015. They have a lot of similarities to that 2015 team. Great defense, mediocre offense. The only difference is that team had the Sheriff playing quarterback for them. This team has a rookie. The Broncos defense is great, but they only have 1 win against a good team, and all 7 of their losses have been against good teams. I don't see them or the Texans winning their game this weekend. The bottom of the C tier, the Los Angeles Rams. Pray for the fires in Los Angeles. It's a terrible, terrible situation, and I hope everyone stays safe. The LA Rams do not have a defense. That is going to be their downfall. They play the Vikings this weekend. The Lions' mediocre defense made Sam Darnold look human, but I don't see the same thing happening with this Rams defense. Their offense can put up 30 plus points on any given night. I don't see this team coming out with a win. Next in the C tier, the Washington Commies. Jaden Daniels has been outstanding this year. He will be the Offensive Rookie of the Year, but similar to the Rams, this team has no defense. They only have 2 wins against good teams, and one of those wins was against the Eagles with Kenny Pickett playing. Jaden Daniels and this offense will put up points, but they're not making it past the divisional round of the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers are next, and before you say anything, I know they're on a 4-game losing streak. I know their offense kind of sucks, but Mike Tomlin and Russell Wilson have more experience than most of these other quarterbacks and teams. They're 4-4 against good teams with a +3 turnover differential. This team does not turn the ball over, and their defense is solid. They also have beaten the Ravens this season, and they did that only kicking field goals. Chris Boswell deserves some MVP votes for that. This is a good team, but I don't see a world where they beat the Ravens. The Chargers do not have the best resume. 3-5 against good teams. 2 of those losses were in Kansas City Chiefs games where they had the win in their hands. New head coach Jim Harbaugh has completely turned this team around, and they're going to be a tough out. I have nothing else to say about this team. Ladd McConkey is great. Justin Herbert's incredible. We all know this. Their defense, solid. And the last team in the C tier, the Green Bay Packers. This placement depends a lot on if Jordan Love is going to play. This is one of the best teams in the NFC. The Packers would probably be the 1st or 2nd seed if the Lions and the Vikings played in the AFC. They have had some close losses to those 2 teams, and they have proven that they can compete with the big boys. Their defense takes the ball away, but their offense gives up a lot of turnovers. They lost one of their wide receivers to an ACL tear, but to be honest, he's been a disappointment throughout the entire year. I can see the Packers making it to the divisional round, especially if Jalen Hurts does not play or is dealing with some sort of injury. To start off the B tier, yes, I have the 15-win Kansas City Chiefs. And before you get all on my back about this team that somehow has 15 wins, they have the worst point differential for a 15-win team in NFL history. Despite having an 8-1 record against good teams, they have a -2 turnover differential, which means Patrick Mahomes and this offense keep turning the ball over. Patrick Mahomes is great, and if I can learn anything from my rankings from last year, the Chiefs have some devil magic, and it especially works when they're in the playoffs. However, Patrick Mahomes is my 6th ranked quarterback this season, and some would argue he's played even worse. I can see this team squeaking out an AFC Championship appearance. At some point, they're going to be embarrassed in these playoffs. Yes, Minnesota just got their tails handed to them by the Detroit Lions. Actually curb stomped them. I didn't watch the game, but I know Sam Darnold threw like 40 passes for 150 yards. Don't let that take away from the fact that the Vikings have looked good the entire season. The team has a +8 turnover ratio against good teams. What Brian Flores has done to this defense is remarkable. If Sam Darnold can limit the turnovers and just find Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, the Vikings will have no problem in defeating the Rams. I could see this team playing a very competitive NFC Championship game. At the top of the B tier is surprisingly the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, despite turning the ball over a lot, he's been elite. The defense leaves a lot to be desired, and this team did blow 2 games to the Atlanta Falcons this year, but this Tampa Bay team is serious. They are the only team to beat the 1st and 2nd seed in their conference, beating the Lions 20-16 and destroying the Eagles 33-16. This team does have a turnover problem, but if their offense can get going against a mediocre Commanders defense, they're going to have no problem getting 1, maybe even 2 wins in this playoff. These next 4 teams are the only 4 teams I see as a contender to win the Super Bowl. Bottom of the A tier, Detroit Lions. Oh my goodness, this team looks incredible. They are 7-2 against good teams. Now, like I've said with a lot of teams before, they do turn the ball over a lot. They have a -4 turnover differential in those games. However, they blow out some of these good teams. Killed the Vikings, beat other teams that I don't know of. Their only problem is they are riddled with injuries on defense, especially. If this team can play well on defense and make their big shots count on offense, they will be your Super Bowl champions. The Bills are one of those teams that they do not turn the ball over. Josh Allen has done an incredible job limiting his turnovers from this year. His biggest knock has been he turns the ball over too much. And this season, he got a hold of that, and now he might be your 2024 MVP. However, this team does not close out games well. You saw it against the Rams, you saw it against the Texans. They got blown out by the Ravens. This is a very good team led by MVP, soon-to-be MVP, Josh Allen, that needs him to play like an MVP if they're going to go anywhere. Coaching is one of the 2 most important things when leading a championship team, and if Josh Allen plays well, they will be playing in the Super Bowl, but I just don't have confidence that their coaching staff is going to pull through. At number 2, the top of the A tier, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles rank 2nd because of their turnaround after going 2-2. This team has won 6 games against good teams, and they would have 7 if Jalen Hurts closed out the Commanders game that went into overtime. They have a +2 turnover differential in those games. Saquon rushed for 2,000 yards. Nick Sirianni shaved his head. This team has what it takes to make it all the way, and they are a much better team from last season. If Jalen Hurts plays. If Hurts does not play, and we have mitten hands out there, the Eagles might lose to the Packers. All that to say, Saquon is elite. Their defense is elite. Their coaching, at the very top spot, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have the most wins this season against good teams with a 9-3 record. And in those 12 games, they have a +116 point differential. Yes, that is insane. They are blowing out good teams. They beat the Bills by 25. They beat the Texans by 29. They beat the Broncos or the Rams or someone, I don't remember. They beat a team by 30+ points this season. The pairing of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is a match made in heaven. Their defense, despite having 2 of the best defensive backs in the league, and an all-pro linebacker, and a couple of good players on the defensive line, their defense has cost them some games. If their defense can play well, and Lamar and Derrick Henry play like the offensive players we know they are, the Ravens are my pick to win the Super Bowl this year. It pains me to leave the 2-0 Saints off of here, but Jake Haener just doesn't have what it takes to bring a championship to the Big Easy. I don't know. Thanks for watching. If the Chiefs 3-peat, probably never watching football again. Bye.